What are walking working surfaces? In November 2016, OSHA published its final rule on walking working surfaces. This rule applies to all general industry workers and went into effect in January 2017. One of the areas impacted was fixed ladders. But to get started, can you just kind of briefly explain what walking working surfaces is and why OSHA released this standard?
Absolutely. So OSHA was just bringing up to speed. So the walking working surfaces really pertains to general industry, and they were just kind of aligning some of the general industry standards with the construction standards, trying to help companies that operate within both have some, a little bit more even between the two sets of standards. So some of the things they address: fixed ladders, which we're going to talk about today, getting body belts no longer allowed for fall arrest, bringing up some of the snap hook standards on gate strength to 3,600 pounds, not allowing those weaker gate strengths to be used in fall protection systems anymore, and then addressing slips, trips, and falls and making sure people are taking the right precautions. So just bringing some of the standards up to date and getting things a little bit more cohesive with the construction standards, scaffolding, the rope descent systems, things like that.
Perfect. All right. So under the new rule, when does a fixed ladder actually require a fall protection system?
So that was one of the more challenging things to understand, because there was it rolled out in November. So in November of 2018 is kind of a cutoff date. So any new ladder at that point needs to incorporate a fall protection system. And a little bit later, we're going to talk about some of the different types of fall protection systems. But November 2018 is your month there. So any new fixed ladder over 24 feet in height from that point forward needs to have a fall protection system on it right away. Any of the other ladders, we'll kind of get into some of that in a minute.
Okay, perfect. So how does this apply to outdoor advertising qualified climbers?
Yeah, so one of the updates in there really impacted those folks. So previous to that standard being updated, a qualified climber was allowed to access those taller ladder systems without utilizing fall protection. And so part of this update, even if you're a qualified climber, if that ladder is over 24 feet, and that's from the ground, because sometimes those ladders don't start for the first 10 feet to keep people from accessing them. So if that ladder exceeds that 24 foot, even a qualified climber needs to utilize a fall protection system of some sort in addition to that certification.
Gotcha. And it kind of seems, driving down the interstate, that most of those billboards probably exceed that 24 foot.
Certainly do.
Yeah,
certainly do.
Okay. So you mentioned the date for new ladder installations.
Correct.
How does that affect the existing ladders?
So existing ladders, and once again, this is ladders over that 24 foot in height. Facilities who have ladders previous to that date of November 2018, so anything prior to that, you get 20 years. So you get until November of 2036 to get those cages, along with you add a ladder safety system, and we'll talk about some of the options there. But those facilities have 20 years from that date to get those ladder systems added to there.
Okay, perfect. And I guess while we're on this topic, can you go through some of the industries, locations where these ladders might be in place and need to be considered?
Certainly. So a lot of your tower climbing folks, so people who are accessing different types of towers, those ladders are always going to fall subject to this change. Power plants, refineries, some of those facilities, a lot of manufacturing facilities will have ladders. Even just commercial buildings, a lot of those facilities have ladders that are over that 24 foot. Some industries like refining may have hundreds of them, while some facilities just have one or two. And that's why that grace period of that 20 years has been given, is just because some facilities have hundreds of ladders that they're going to need to update with these systems.
It's a big scope to cover.
Certainly is.